Hello, beautiful souls, and welcome to another episode of Soul Over Matter podcast. I'm your host, Michelle, and today we have a guest on Soul Over Matter. We have Bridget Aileen Sicsko. She is a publisher, podcast host of She Builds Empires, and founder of Visibility on Purpose. So, Bridget, I am so honored to have you here. How are you doing today?
I'm doing amazing. And I have to say this to you, you have a great voice. As
Thank
you were
you.
introducing, I was like, wow, she just sounds really nice.
I feel like you commented on a Facebook post once about that. Yeah, thank you. Throat chakra work, guys. If you want to work on your throat chakra, just send me a DM because I used to hate my voice. Yeah. So
And
thank
I
you.
love the study of sound. So I notice people's voices.
Oh, I love that. Yeah, so how are you doing? How are you feeling on this? We're recording on a Friday on Venus Day.
Well, I'm wearing a pink sweatshirt, pink earrings. This is like the last thing of my day. My husband and I are going to be watching Christmas movies tonight and wearing Christmas pajamas and making a really cozy dinner. So I'm really excited.
Oh, my whole body is like, yes, that sounds amazing. I love it. What's your favorite movie? Favorite
Okay.
Christmas movie?
Well, we're trying to decide between Home Alone or the Santa Claus, which is a really hard one. He's like, let's do both. I'm like, Eric, we're gonna be asleep by 9. That's not happening.
Let's be real. Let's be realistic here. I love that. And you're pretty in pink. What is it? On Fridays we wear pink.
Yeah.
We're
Mean Girls.
reclaiming the mean girls. Um, that's amazing. Well, I'm so happy to have you here. I feel like this is going to be a juicy conversation, very flowy conversation, and also empowering. I can already feel like female listeners, males too, but female listeners really tuning in. And yeah, I always begin with guests sharing their stories. So, how did you get to become this publisher, this podcast host, this founder? What was your upbringing like? How did you get to this now moment?
Well, I love storytelling, so this is very, very fun. I never set out to be a publisher. I never thought being a podcast host was a job. I did grow up with entrepreneurial parents, so I will say, like, from a very, very young age, they planted the seeds of like, you can do anything that you want in this world and you can create something for yourself. So I will say that was like a very, very important kind of seed that was planted for me. And I have a brother and sister too. Same for them. We're very creative and very different. So thank you, Mom and Dad, if you ever listen to Michelle's podcast. They're the best. But really, my deeper journey started with illness at a young age. I had Lyme disease diagnosed probably age 13, and it was symptoms that I would go to doctors for, and they just could not give me answers. And I went to doctor after doctor after doctor, was put on so many rounds of antibiotics, and I was getting like pissed and frustrated at this point. Because if you also think back to like middle school, that's when you're trying to find who you are and like understand the world. And it's an uncomfortable stage of life because you're not super sure of yourself. You're not really sure of like what the world truly is and your role or your part in it. And for me, I was then dealing with the added challenge of having all these physical things that made me feel really uncomfortable. Like I had parasites, I had pneumonia all the time, I had staph infections on my skin. Not a great time to be experiencing some of those symptoms. And because of my frustration, I just like went on this deep journey of research and learning things. And I will also say my mom was open to holistic outlets. So yes, we went to the Western medical doctors first, and then we started going outside, acupuncturists, holistic nutritionists. I was really given the outlet to see things in a different way. And as that journey continued on, I went through high school and college and started to heal ultimately from Lyme. And I really went through high school and college as just like a normal gal. I was partying in college. I was having a dandy good old time. But there was also like an alternate side of me because in high school, I found yoga, I found Ayurveda, I found nutrition. I always joke like I was dancing between the two worlds.
Mm.
I don't know if you feel that one. Like
Oh,
I
yeah.
had one foot in one world and I had one foot in the other. And I felt like a dichotomy because part of me can go one way, part of me can go the other. Part of me in college would spend a night in ashram and then the next day come back to day drink at a Rutgers football game. We were confused and we were having a great time. We were having a great time, but we were confused. So I go through college and I come out with, my degree and I'm ready to take on the world. And I get my first job in New York City and it's a cool company culture. There's happy hours. And I absolutely hated what I was doing. It was soul sucking for me. I was in sales, cold call phone sales for a great company called Yelp.
Mm.
It was not for me at all. And with the support of my parents, I quit that job and I traveled to Europe to have some fun traveling and study Ayurveda and yoga, become a yoga teacher. And that's kind of the start of my like entrepreneurial, be on my own journey. And the rest is somewhat history. So I'll take a pause.
Wow. Well, thank you for sharing about growing up with a disease. That's also like a testament to your grit and your strength, right? To be going through something that you as a child is out of your control, right? And also to be trying to find your way in the world, right? Middle school, high school, like it's so fucking awkward. Like
Awkward. Oh, braces, the whole 9 yards.
boys, it's like we don't even know who we are. And then to add that layer of doctor visits, of feeling like there's something wrong with you. So how, if you can remember, like how did you move through that? Like how did you, oh gosh, like actually reflecting back on that, what do you feel like from those times of your life are you implementing now? Like those traits of you, those I don't, what's the word? Like the strains that you kind of took from that quote
Yeah.
unquote bad experience.
I will like never forget this one moment at a doctor's office. And this is like after numerous years, I would go through like flares, like it would go up and down, which also made it a little bit more challenging because it wasn't like chronic all the time. It would kind of go away. And I was like, wait, I'm confused. And then it would flare back up and come back. So this is a couple years in. We go to a gastroenterology office, like they did the colonoscopy. And at this point, I'd started to put the dots together of like everything is connected in the physical body. So if I'm having digestive issues, like it's not just my stomach or my intestines, like there's more going on in the body because it's all connected. And I took hours. I typed up my entire medical history, like every supplement I'd ever taken, any antibiotic I'd ever been given, any diagnosis I'd ever had. And I brought it all to the gastroenterologist because I was like, you know what, this is going to help this person solve it. And he didn't look at it. And my mom was there with me. I remember not being able to speak. Like I was
Mm.
so hurt that I didn't feel seen or heard. And it makes me emotional now because it's like that is why I do what I do. Like I
Mm.
want people to just feel that they are seen and heard. And it's come through in books, it comes through in interviews, it comes through in yoga and bringing people together. Like that's my dharma. It's actually just bringing people together in community and helping them feel seen and heard. So thank God for that doctor. He has no idea. He has no idea what that experience gave me, but like such a blessing in the moment. WTF, this sucks. Now, thank God.
Wow. How old were you?
I was like late teens at this point.
Mm. Oh, I could
17.
feel this in my entire body. Like I could feel that's the fire that it's almost like he ignited that fire within you. It was always there, but like it was dormant and like you needed that. I don't say we need experiences because sometimes people can say like, oh, you're just bypassing, but like
Mhm.
the adverse experiences are the ones that really test us and really bring out who we truly are. And to come to that acceptance and like, holy shit, like thank you, like that gratitude to that doctor who has no idea. Ooh, I feel it.
Me too.
My whole body was like, Woo, like I feel
Oh.
like Joan of Arc energy. I feel like, yeah, it's true that that's what you do. I mean, I'm part of the most recent book that you published, and how did you become a publisher? You're my first publisher on Soul Over Matter.
So how did I become a publisher? So it's not a linear path, is it ever? In 2018 or 2019, I was helping back up for a moment. I have always loved public speaking. It has always been very natural for me. I started helping women basically like record themselves and see the processing that happens when we actually vocalize our desires or just like moving through things. And I started to bring that into business. So I began helping women entrepreneurs sell their programs by using live video to build know, like, and trust, to connect with their audience, like to truly articulate what it is that they did and have the confidence to do so. And at one point, I was given the opportunity to be part of a book like this. It was called Awakening. Awesome. Part of a large group of incredible women doing amazing things from all over the planet. And my publisher at that time was like, I need to help more people put together these types of books and bring good messages out there. And that was the deeper why at that time. Anyway, I had a podcast at that time. I was helping women use their voice. Like I was bringing them together in community. So it was basically just like a next step that wasn't even logical. It's just like, oh yeah, of course, I'm gonna learn how to do this on my own, and I'm gonna become a publisher. Now, there's a lot to learn. There's
No. No way. The entrepreneur path, so easy.
one of my greatest strengths is taking action. Like I don't think, I go, which is like a great strength. And I freaking learn very fast and it's very uncomfortable.
Are you a Manny, Jen?
I'm a generator.
Okay. Yeah. I was like, you gotta have that energy in you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Pitta dosha, generator, Leo sun, like there's Capricorn rising. I'm just like,
You're an empire. You're
yes,
a powerhouse.
absolutely. So I learned a lot starting a publishing company. And for me, the thread that needed to be there was I was here to bring people together. I was here to help people connect over their stories. I was here to put good messages out into the world. The news is overwhelming to me personally, and I want to bring alternative viewpoints and just like show people that there is still good in the world.
Amazing. So where do you get your ideas for the books? Because there's so many different topics and ideas. Like, is it only you? Do you have a team? Like, how do you say like, okay, this is going to be the next book?
I get them in meditation.
Mm.
Oh yeah, we all know this, right? When you have a business or you're a creative in any way, you don't get your ideas when you're like pen to paper, like I'm going to figure this out. No, it's like on the random walk when you're, walking the dog and you're like, oh my God. And for me, it's never, ever when I'm trying to do it.
That's I always come back to that because that anyone listening who has ideas, who is a business owner, it's like, yeah, when you're actually sitting down to be like, okay, I'm gonna think of some ideas of next steps. Like, no, no, no. It's when you're in the shower, when you're out on a walk.
Absolutely. It's always been that way. I have a very devoted Kundalini yoga practice. That's really like my lineage and my path, although that's not what I originally studied. And I just find, yeah, when I'm in the space, when I'm in the 0 point field of nothing, that is when everything comes.
Yeah. And it's the sitting, right? It's the patience of that inspiring things come to us when we're not looking for them.
Yeah.
And I think that's also like entrepreneurship too. Like people are like, oh, I want to start my business and do this and do that. It's like, just have a seat and sit with yourself and see what comes up. That's what my chapter is about. I didn't, like you said, like I didn't want to have a podcast. I was just a little speech language pathologist working in the school system. And it's really allowing the flow, right? Allowing that flow. And like you said, taking the flow of the feminine and then taking that aligned action, the masculine, when it's time. So how many, my gosh, how many stories have you been able to share with your books? How many people have you
Um,
connected with because of your books?
Over 150, which is amazing.
Oh my God. Oh, I have chills like that. I remember you, I feel like I remember coming to you for one of the previous books, but obviously it wasn't meant to be that book.
Yeah.
Um, and there's just something, like you said in the beginning, like to be a storyteller, there's something really potent about giving space for people to share their stories and to be seen and heard. And I can resonate with that because, yeah, it's like when we're not seen, when we're not heard, that gives us that fire to give that, like once we encompass that, once we embody that, then we want to share it.
Yeah. I my entrance into like community gathering together, I used to host in-person women's circles in New Jersey. And that is where, when you do something and you really, the inner parts of you go, yes, 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 more. Like you just feel so lit up and so excited and so seen in that as well. And that's what it was for me. It was, wow, I feel seen doing this. And when I feel seen in my gifts, I can also help people feel seen in their gifts, and to just, create safe spaces where people feel that they can come together in community and just be a part of something and not be judged. And just, I think on the deepest, like human level, that's honestly what we need in the world.
Yeah. To be seen, to be heard, to be loved. Like those
Yep.
are core human necessities.
Yep.
And oh, it's just so powerful to have you here, to have you speak to your own story and then how you have helped so many people share theirs. Can you share more about visibility on purpose? Like where did that come from? Where did that what does that entail?
Yeah, visibility on purpose. This is like very new. I'm going into business with a business partner, and her name is Lydia, and we've been working together in a collaboration way for the last like 3 years. And I feel like this is an important thing to talk about too, because going into partnership with someone in business is a little bit different than just like, being a solopreneur and doing it all on your own. So there is, there's dynamics, there's a relationship, there's a lot that goes involved with that. But what the business is we help women entrepreneurs, probably men too, we'll bring them in, who are very growth driven, pitch themselves to media organically so they don't have to like pay for press, but we teach them how to pitch themselves without hiring a publicist. And the deeper thing there is, again, bringing people together in community, helping people feel seen for their gifts, helping people understand what it is that they truly, truly do on the most impactful level, and to
Mhm.
put words to it. Because how I have felt, and I know many people resonate with this, is like when we are in more of a spiritual, transformative, healing profession, sometimes it's hard to put words on the transformation that we provide because it's not tangible. Like publishing is easy. It's very obvious what I'm doing there. Very obvious. Of course, there's the deeper stuff too. But when we're in the healing world, it's like, how do you explain the intangible things that you are shifting for people? And therefore, bringing words to that and being able to actually explain what you do so people get it feels so good. So that is what visibility on purpose is. It's visibility for good. It's bringing good stories out there into the world, and it's giving people the tools to do it themselves.
I love that it's new for you. It's
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 new.
like your new baby, right? Because everything we create they're our babies. And I also love that you started out doing in-person women's circles because that's how I started out.
Yeah.
It's just I feel like we have that in common, that like bringing people together, and it just happens so organically. And I feel the same. It's like there are women that have come to me that are like, we became best friends because of your programs, or we became best friends because of your circles. And it's like that that lights me up. I'm sure it does for you too. Um, well, I'm I'm like wishing you the best of luck with this new endeavor, but it's like, of course you're gonna own it. I mean, all the fire and like that Capricorn rising, like holy shit. It's like you're doing it. Um, so I had a question and now I'm blanking on it. Um, where is this? Oh, this is what's coming through. I love that you said to have people pitch for themselves without having to hire a publicist. It's like teaching people that they can do this on their own 2 feet.
It's the age of Aquarius. Information is everywhere. There's no gatekeepers to information these days. You go on YouTube, you can type anything in, you can learn anything. And same with publishing. I'm doing the same thing in publishing because I am not a traditional publisher, right? I'm offering like a different way to get your story and your work out there. And I want to bring this information to anyone to show them that you don't need to be, an Oprah to have a book. So it's the same thing with media. And most people just don't know how media works. They don't understand that it's actually really cool. It's like a crowdsourced hive because the journalists have stories and they're looking for people like you and I and other business owners and other experts to support their story so that it can get out there to the most people for whatever publication they work for or serve or whatever it is. So it's really a very interesting thing. And if we position ourselves in the right way and if we know this information, like anyone can do this.
Anyone
Anyone.
can do it. Fall on your butt, get back up again. I always think of like little babies, right? It's like they're learning to walk and they fall a million times. They don't just like give up after the first one. And it's like we tend to, when we have that like fixed mindset, to we fall and then it's like, well, I guess I'm gonna quit now. I'm just gonna like not try again. But I think that's what's so beautiful about entrepreneurs is like we go first, we lead, we I feel you because what am I? I'm a 3-5 in human design. So
Same.
it's like I was gonna say, I was like, you gotta have that 3 throw spaghetti at the wall energy.
It is an amazing path and a what the fuck are we doing?
I love that. I was like, wait, we got to talk about our profile lines. Yes, because, and if you guys don't know human design, I have a episode with Becca Francis, who was my human design coach back in the podcast library. But 3-5s, right? We fall, we fail, we try, we experiment. And then the 5 is like, okay, now I'm going to give you all the shortcuts. None of you have to go through what I went through. I did all the dirty, messy work. Here's all the good stuff.
Yeah, this is why I love teaching because I'm just like, I have a lot of information, life experience. I don't look old, but I've done a lot of things that try it all. I played every sport. Like I just everything.
I love that. I love that. Oh my gosh, 3-5. Yeah. I knew there was like kismet energy. I was like, wait, there's got to be more because yeah, that can you share more about that of like really you said before, yeah, we don't think. If we think it's not going to work out well, we got to just try things.
Yeah, absolutely. I've talked about this before, and I think it's a great time to share that running the publishing company has been really challenging for me. I have learned I'm not a great project manager. Therefore, I have a team of other people. So I had to learn how to hire people, which is, a whole egg basket, a whole thing. And, it's been really challenging for me. It has been like very, very expansive, but I have learned a lot really, really fast. And, because of that, I've had to really focus on myself and my nervous system and my self-care and taking walks and like really honoring it because it's been a really successful and yet bumpy boop, boop, boop road.
Non-linear. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Trying new things. I mean, thank you for shedding light on that because yeah, a lot of people just assume, what we shared before we started recording, like we just arrived here and it's like, no, if you saw either of us 10 years ago, right, it'd just be a very different story. And I think there's also this energy where, or this belief that once we find our dharma, once we find our purpose, that it's just easy.
Yeah.
And it's not.
No,
It's
there's
worth
always
it. It's worth it, but it's definitely not easy because it's not meant to be easy. We're not meant to live in our comfort zones. We're meant to push and try and fall and fail and yeah, and also delegate. I feel you on that, like hiring people and trusting, right? To trust someone coming in and doing the things that you used to do.
And I don't know if you've experienced this, but as someone who like gets really excited about, I have so much like excitement energy. So when I get an idea, I get excited and I'm like, let me just run with it. So part of this process for me has been how to best utilize my energy around how do I delegate my excitement into, a structure of this is the SOP, like this is what you're going to follow. This is where all the information is. That's been probably the most challenging thing of expanding this business. It's how do I take my excitement and my initial fire and drive that like I can make things happen like this into slower to give to someone else.
Structure, right?
Yeah.
I feel like that was on a call with Caitlin. It was like you were, and I was like, oh my gosh, I see myself in Bridget right now. Like you were just rambling and so excited, and like your energy was so magnetic and enthusiastic. And she's like, okay, let's break it down and let's do this. Yeah, that's an edge. It's an edge to kind of what you shared before about knowing the impact we have and knowing the results we help bring to people, but marketing it, right? Or speaking to it or trying to explain it. It's like, just trust me, like just come into my world and come into my space and you'll see the transformation. But people need to see like, well, how are you going to show me these results?
Yeah. I wouldn't change any of these things. Like I wouldn't change any of it. And the messiness is like what creates the beauty at the same time. So, we live on a polarity planet. Like there's duality. We get to dance in the challenge and we also get to dance in the joy. And I feel that's why like my personal inner practices are so important to me because what am I beyond all of this, all of the work stuff? Because at Capricorn rising, work is really exciting for me. So who am I beyond all of that? And how can I come back to space in between myself or that just is.
Yeah, what is that quote? It's like work is part of us, but it's not all of us, right? And we work 2/3 of our lives. So it feels like it's part of our identity, but at the same time, it's not. And it's funny you said polarity. I just shared a solo episode about how we come to Earth to literally feel the polarity, to feel all these emotions that we're not supposed to bypass. We're not supposed to stuff underneath. Like we're here to go deep and to help our nervous system, right? I mean, we live in a world that is run in such a way that our nervous systems come last.
Mm-hmm.
And I think as women, especially, right, as women leaders, as female leaders, it is up to us it's our responsibility to lead by example, to show you can do these things and also take care of yourself.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we talked like a little bit on boundaries before we even started, but like I am very strict on I do not work on the weekends. Like I will not answer an email. I will not do a podcast on the weekends. Like that is my time to just like be with my family, go for runs, go for hikes during the week. I'm not going to take night calls. I love all my Australian people, but God bless you. I will never get on a call at 1 a.m. I'm sorry. I love sleeping. I go to bed at 9. I wake up at 5. Like it is what it is.
Yeah, and that's important, right? Especially as cyclic beings, right? As women, we cycle, and every week is different. Every day can be a different mood. It's like we get to honor our cycles, and we get to honor what our boundaries are, and those shift too. Like everything's ever changing, everything's ever evolving. But I think it's so important to lead by that example, and to share that with others, right? To share like, hey, I'm not a linear being. I am going to create structures around my business that support my nervous system, that support um, my productivity, like you said.
Yes, yes, yes.
To feel into that. And yeah, it's so easy. It's so easy to answer DM, or like, it's like 9 p.m. answer DM. Like, it's to create that container.
Yeah. And I'm still human, so I've definitely answered a DM at 9 p.m. Just to let everyone know.
I won't tell anyone.
We're not perfect over here, friends.
We're humans too, right? Gosh, I share that with all of my clients. It's like, do not put me on a pedestal. I am human. I am messy. I am not fully healed. I'll never be fully healed. Like, we're all just trying to do this human thing together.
Yeah, we're just doing our best. We're just like rolling on this like planet that's floating in the sky. We're in these like meat suits. We're just like, we're like energetic beings, but we live in this like physical plane. It's confusing. It's fine.
It's confusing. I'd love to share. I wasn't able to make it, but I remember you talking about how you've published so many books, but Heart-Centered Leadership was the first book that you had a launch party for. So I felt that energy. I don't get FOMO, but holy crap, did I have FOMO that day. How did that feel to be in a room with dozens of people as a publisher of one of your books?
Honestly, it just felt like I was hanging out with my best friends.
Mm.
Like truly. And like that's one of the other things. It's like I think, like words hold density and like consciousness. I think like the consciousness of the word publisher feels like I'm above. And like I'm just like, that's just like, nah, that's not me. Like I just, I birthed something with all of you, and I just had a specific skill set that could support your stories coming out there. So me being there with everyone was just like, oh my God. It was just so, so amazing, so nourishing. Being in person versus virtual. There are things about our body language, about like proximity and space to one another, about hugging, about eye contact, like true eye contact, that I'm sorry, Zoom will just it won't do it for us. And it was healing, it was transformative, it was eye-opening, because I was like, oh damn, I really didn't do this for any of those other books. Are you kidding me? Michelle. Yes, please.
I felt it. I felt it. And I remember you saying that, like, crap, this is the first one I've done. And with COVID, with all the things that we've gone through these last couple of years, I can imagine, like, I haven't been, I think I held one event last year in person, but I've kind of just been online the last almost 3 years, and my soul is like itching. She's like, we got to be around people. So I'm like, I got to make the January one. But yeah, to create that tangibility, to be there with other humans, like in the flesh. And yeah, I can't imagine how that feels. But don't minimize your success, my love, either. Like, yeah, scream it from the mountaintops.
It was
What do
amazing.
I say? It's like, oh, not to toot my own horn, but
But here I am.
I actually now say, to toot my own horn, I blank. So yeah, you get to say, like, I am a publisher. I am. It doesn't mean you're above anyone else, but holy shit, like, not everyone can do that.
Yes, thank you. I am an activator of people's dreams, and like right now the season is I get to do that through books.
Activator of people's dreams. Yes. That's how
Yes.
we should have introduced you.
Oh yeah. Oh my, I have told people, I was like, don't tell me your dreams because they're gonna fucking come true.
I'm
Like,
the same. Bridget, we got to do something together. I feel like we would just help people manifest the most wild shit. No, I am the same. I'm like, if you tell me something, that becomes a seed in my head, and then I will ask you about it, and I will like coach you about it or cheerlead you about it without even, and then people come to me a month later like, so that happened. I'm like,
Mhm. Mhm. That's amazing. I love this.
"The guys, don't tell us your dreams unless you want them to come true," because
Oh,
that's also scary, right? Like, I'm sure you've had dreams where you were like, holy shit, like what, this can't be true, or like this can't happen. But we don't dream by accident, but we're
these
scared of them at the same time.
they feel big sometimes. And I think that's where like nervous system regulation and like our ability to like be able to hold more in our
Mm,
field is really important because yeah, sometimes these dreams feel like really far outside of like where we are in the moment. And yeah, if I'm like Bridget sitting in my office in my house in New Jersey, me visualizing having like a place where children get to learn homeschooling and we do like regenerative agriculture, that feels very far away from like me right now. So I get it. It does make sense. And can we hold that vision, do the inner work, and have cheerleaders and coaches and people who can support that journey for us and
yeah,
with us?
yeah, yeah. Because it's like we see this reality now, and it's funny on I have like a daily calendar says, "Be daring, be different." It's like we're visionaries, right? We're the ones who, and most of you listening to this too are visionaries. You might not even know it yet, because I don't remember. I remember listening to these kind of podcasts 4 years ago, and I was like, I'll never be that. But the seeds start planting, and it's the visionary archetype of just having that vision and holding that vision and not attaching ourselves to that vision, right? Like doing the work, trusting that it might happen, trusting that it's there because it's there on another plane of existence. It's there in another dimension. It's just this like string. I don't know if you, who is it? Dr. Joe Dispenza, right? That string
Mhm.
between our now reality and the future, because the future doesn't exist, and just bringing that closer and closer each and every day. And that could be 30 years from now. Like, who knows? I have visions of having an animal sanctuary retreat center, right? And, homeschooling my future children. Like, yeah, but it's like, well, I'm not having these visions for no reason. I had
Yeah.
visions of the nomadic journey I'm on right now 3 years ago when I was with my ex fiance in a San Francisco apartment. Do you think I was believing those visions and premonitions? No. Like, it's like, why am I thinking these things? Yeah.
Have you read Big Magic by Liz
No.
Gilbert? I just love the way that she talks about like dreams and ideas, and she talks about it as like, there's this collective consciousness space where all dreams, ideas, possibility lies. Just like Joe Dispenza, it's like there's the void, there's the blank space where everything exists, all possibilities. And she says that like certain ideas come down to us, and then we have the free will to like choose to move forward. And if we don't choose to move forward, dream or idea can simply just go on to the next person. And I just like love that almost like visual of it's not even my dream necessarily, but it comes through for me to be the conduit and the vessel, and I get to then choose as Bridget if I want to move forth with it.
Mm, yeah. That's why you'll see people invent things and you're like, I had that idea 30, like 20 years ago. And it's like, well, yeah, you didn't act on it though.
Exactly. And she gives a great example in the book, and you're just like, it's one of those WTF, like how on earth could this happen moments, like two people, different realms of the world, same idea, same story. Like it was just one of those.
I'll
It's a
have
good
to
read.
read it. Who wrote it again?
Elizabeth Gilbert.
Oh, Eat, Pray, Love, Love. Eat, Pray, Love
Yeah.
lady, right? Is that her? Is that
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, you're gonna love it, Michelle.
I mean, I love magic. Like you said before, I dance between worlds. I'm only here half the time. I don't even know if I'm here now. Let's be honest. My avatar's here. Who knows where my soul is?
I love this.
So yeah, if you guys are listening and right, okay, that's it. What would you say to people that do have big dreams, that feel intangible, that feel like they're way too big? What advice would you give someone who hasn't started their entrepreneurial journey yet, are too afraid to take that first step?
I think community, number one, is so important. We need the people who can circle around us and be like, heck yeah, you can do that. Like, yes, yes, yes. We need people who have done this. We need to be in their field, in their sphere, in their space. We need the community. So I used to go on meetup.com and like look up local events just so I could like meet people that were like-minded and go to sound healings and yoga events and stuff like that. Cause I live in suburban New Jersey. Like this is not an eco center of cool things. Let's just say that. I had to create the cool things. And now there's a cool community here. Okay, so that's number one, community. Number two is I am a big believer in future visioning and essentially feeling the wish fulfilled. So sitting in the space, not conscious. So get into meditation, do some yoga, do some breath work where you would beyond conscious mind and you sit in, yeah, wow, I have this thing. Like, what does it feel like? What does it smell like? What does it look like? How can you hold that in your body now? And basically trick yourselves, every part of your body, that you can have it. And that sounds crazy. And that's okay. It might be for you, might not be for you. So I love to do that practice. And I like to do things that help me basically pattern that I am successful or I am confident. So even if it's not, everything is in life is connected. So even if it's like you want to start a business, do things in your life that help you feel confident, help you feel successful. I'm a huge trail runner. My husband and I just bought an ice barrel for our back deck and are doing
I saw your
cold
video
plunge.
on Facebook. Holy, oh.
So like why am I doing that? Number one, to prove to myself I can do anything I put my mind to and I put my breath to. And it triggers in me this ability of feeling confident, of feeling like I can, because most of the time the internal dialogue in our minds is no way, I can't. So even if it's not the direct path, do things in your life that can actually pattern that experience of success and victory for yourself now.
The nervous system, right? It's coming back to the nervous system, repatterning, rewriting the beliefs that we have as children, right? I mean, I always say like our inner critic is usually something we heard as a child, a parent, a teacher. It's not even us.
Right.
I love that. That's great, great wisdom to share because, yeah, again, it comes back to what we started with of getting quiet and just listening to ourselves instead of being like, okay, I have all these, what idea, what's next? And sitting down, it's doing other things that don't seem related, but everything is connected, especially as an entrepreneur. Like our personal lives impact our professional lives, like everything is related. So to do other things outside of our comfort zone, to build that that muscle, right? We're rebuilding a muscle. We're rewriting our stories. And oh my gosh, I saw that video. I was like, oh, I loved your facial expressions. I've done cold plunges a few times, like in rivers and Super Bowl polar bear plunge in New York when I lived there.
Yeah.
Holy crap. But yeah, it's like I am successful. I can do this. And we can't be that way from the monkey mind now, right? Like us just chatting. That's why I'm not a firm believer in affirmations unless you are already in that parasympathetic rest, digest, nervous system, feeling deep in meditation, deep in a cold barrel.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. I mean, this is why I love the study of mantra, because we're talking subconscious mind. We're talking about sound to rewire subconscious mind. And when you're in a deep meditation through like chanting again and again and again and again and again, I'm not thinking about like what I'm making for dinner. I'm just on the sound. And if this sound can trigger something in me that says like, I am victory, like I am successful, and it might be in a different language or whatever, but we can't be conscious saying these things. We have to be the level deeper.
Yeah, in that hypnosis state. It's so powerful. So amazing. I could chat with you all day.
I know. What are you doing later?
I'm gonna come hang out with you guys, watch your Christmas movie. I'll bring my PJ.
course, you're always
Just
welcome.
fly to Jersey. But thank you for sharing your wisdom today. Thank you for sharing your fire, your passion. And yeah, it was just an honor to have you here and have this inspiring chat. Where can people work with you? Where can people find you? Yeah, share away.
Instagram at Bridget Aileen Sicsko, same on LinkedIn. Website is bridgetaileen.com. If you type any of those things in, just send me a message, say hi, tell me you listen to this too. And that would be so fun. This has been amazing, Michelle. I could talk to you forever.
Yay! It's a generator energy.
Yeah, it is. It is. Thank you so much.
Thank you for being here.